Yeah, that makes two of us.
Oh,
How are you, Mr. Skip?
I am good, Miss Ann. Good to see you.
Good to be seen
It
and
is.
not viewed.
Oh, man, yeah, you've been in all roles and that's your family, man. Jeez, sorry about that.
Whenever you're ready,
Seven
Mayor.
o'clock.
Oh, we're good? All right. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the regular meeting of Mayor and Council of the Borough of Glassboro for December 12th, 2023 to order. Karen, could you please read the opening statement?
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, I hereby announce that adequate notice of this meeting, as required by said act, has been provided by adopting a schedule of regular meetings for the year 2023, which schedule is posted on the Borough Hall Bulletin Board, as well as the Borough website, and forwarded to both the South Jersey Times and the Sentinel of Gloucester County, and filed with the Borough Clerk on January 7th, 2023.
Thank you. Can we all rise and salute the flag, please? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Karen, roll call, please.
Mayor Wallace?
Here.
Mr. D'Alessandro?
Here.
Mr. Fiola?
Here.
Mr. Halter?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Here.
Mrs. Spence? Here. Mr. Melandro?
Here.
Mr. Scafidi?
Present.
Mr. Brunemer? Here. And let the record reflect that Mr. Casabone is excused for this evening.
Thank you very much. We have no proclamations or presentations this evening, so I will turn the meeting over to our Borough Solicitor.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We have a scheduled public hearing this evening. That is on ordinance number 23-30. The ordinance is for adopting a redevelopment plan for Block 21, Lot 8 in the Borough of Glassboro, County of Gloucester, State of New Jersey. The project is known as the Shabbat at Rowan, located at Mick Drive and Redmond Avenue. If council moves for the public portion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. The floor is now open to anyone from the public who wishes to come forward and address this proposed ordinance. Yes, sir.
Does that pertain to the proposed restaurant and stuff?
No, it does not.
Okay. Seeing no one for this proposed ordinance, I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance as written and close the public portion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Karen, roll call, please.
Mr. D'Alessandro?
Four.
Mr. Fiola?
Four.
Mr. Halter?
Four.
Ms. Miller?
4.
Mrs. Spence?
Yes.
Motion carries. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of October 24th, 2023, as well as the closed executive session of October 24th, 2023.
Motion to approve?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor state aye. Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. We have no communications this evening, so I'll move to committee reports and begin with Council President Miller.
Good evening. Just wanted to say that the Park and Recreation Department recently partnered with the MLK Center and hosted a toy drive for the children of Glassboro. Really successful. In addition to the toys and the snacks and refreshments, there was also a barber there providing haircuts for some of the youth. Biddy basketball will be beginning soon, and the regular basketball is underway. And that's all I have this evening, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Very nice. Councilman D'Alessandro.
Mayor, I'm just in receipt of the Highway Department dumping fees and from Willow Bader and the GCIA. Just wanted to make that a note.
Thank you very much.
That's all
sir.
I have.
Thank you very much, sir. Councilman Fiola.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. There's nothing to report from the Finance Committee at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Councilman Halter.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Good evening.
For the Water and Sewer Department, we still have one position open right now. We were able to backfill a number of open positions we had recently, so that's a very good thing. Also, we're continuing the lead pipe and galvanized pipe replacement, focusing right now on Dulcie Drive, so that's why you see a lot of the roadway work going on out there, following the state DEP mandates with no financial assistance. Beyond that, we're also working, getting the flushing systems for the hydrants out on our website and on social media, so if you have that going on in your neighborhood, stay tuned to those reports. Thank you. And also, I want to thank a lot of the crewmen from the water and sewer as well as the highway department for all their efforts put forth to put up the holiday and Christmas decorations out in the town square.
Very nice. Thank you very much, sir. And Councilwoman Spence.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're
I
welcome.
just want to send in receipt of the November construction report, and all seems in order, and that's it, Mayor.
Thank you very much. We have no unfinished business this evening. Karen, can we go over new business, please?
Yes, Mayor, I have a request for street closure permit for Triple Threat Productions Incorporated for December 13th, 2023.
Motion for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. At this time, I'll ask for the engineer's report, please, Mark.
Yes, good evening. Construction continues with most of the home construction for the townhouses that are King Laura and also on East High Street. We're nearing completion over there. For those, the landfill work is nearing completion with the solar panels, so that's kind of slowed down. They're getting nearly complete there. And the storage building down on South Delsey Drive is continuing their construction where Lycios used to be. And Lycios is going to have a pre-construction meeting tomorrow to start for their site improvements at the old Save-A-Lot next to Matt Blatt Auto. They're going to be doing their bakery retail facility in there, so they have a lot of site improvements, drainage, curbing, and repaving to do over the next several months before they start rehabbing the inside.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Anybody have anything for Mark? Thank you again, Mark. At this time, I'll again turn the meeting over to our borough solicitor.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Under our consent agenda this evening, we have the following resolutions, beginning with number 348, authorizing refund of a tax overpayment. Resolution 349, authorizing refund of street opening performance guarantee, E&K Properties LLC. Resolution 350, authorizing refund of street opening performance guarantee, WYB Consulting LLC. Resolution 351, authorizing the reduction of performance bond number 800042814 in the amount of $31,075.04 to $23,431.38 for High Street Estates Phase 1. Resolution 352, resolution authorizing the reduction of performance bond number 800042812 in the amount of $22,746.32 to $14,216.45 for High Street Estates Phase 2. Resolution 353, providing for the insertion of a special item of revenue in the budget pursuant to NJSA 484-87. Resolution 354, providing for the insertion of special item of revenue, again in the budget pursuant to NJSA 484-87. Resolution 355, authorizing cancellation of checks over 6 months old in the Glassboro Municipal Court bail account. And finally, Resolution 356, cancellation of checks over 6 months old to the Glassboro Municipal Court general account. They are the resolution this evening under our consent agenda as noted, and for the purposes also stated underneath the resolutions in the agenda. Council moves for approval. Roll call vote.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Karen, roll call, please.
Mr. D'Alessandro.
4.
Mr. Fiola.
4.
Mr. Halter.
Yes.
Ms. Miller.
4.
Mrs. Spence.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And Mayor, we have 2 ordinances for introduction tonight on first reading only. I'll read both. The motion would be to introduce both tonight. First being ordinance number 2331, an ordinance amending chapter 445 vehicles and traffic, section 50 weight limits, various streets. That street is Kentucky Avenue. Ordinance number 23-32, ordinance to authorize the execution of a lease agreement between the Borough of Glassboro and Glassboro A4 Main Street Urban Renewal LLC for property known as 101 Rowan Boulevard, Building A4, and that's for the library lease agreement. Again, this will be by title only this evening. If council moves, roll call vote.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Karen, roll call, please.
Mr. Delisandro.
4.
Mr. Fiola.
4.
Mr. Halter.
Yes.
Ms. Miller.
4.
Mrs. Stone.
Motion carries. At this time, I will entertain a motion to open up the public portion.
Move the public portion be open.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. The public portion is now open for anyone who wishes to come forward and address mayor and council.
Just for the public's purpose, there are rules and regulations related to our public participation. They are outlined on the agenda. Most importantly, note there is a 5-minute limitation per person. And when you do approach, would you please identify yourself for the record and your place of residence, please? Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Sir.
You're getting to know me. Nick Matteo, 128 Weatherby, in Glassboro. I was at the last meeting. I'd like to just renew my concerns concerning this proposed restaurant and venue. I personally, I don't speak for only me, have no opposition to this restaurant or the wedding venue. I do oppose the water feature and the outdoor facility for whatever concerts or whatever you want to call that. As far as the statement concerning these things, I think we've all heard the adage, perception is reality. Well, the reality to the residents in our community are all over the place. I think there needs to be information coming from council to what is exactly going on. Because if you look at, and I know a lot of people hate social media, but if you look, it's all over the place. The 60,000 square foot water feature has been asked, is that gonna be a Sahara Sands as far as a water park? People don't know. The people need to be informed by council as to what's going on. I asked you, or asked council to check into the impact for our police, public service, and emergency services to that location. And I'm sure that the planning board or zoning board is gonna look at a traffic impact study on this. I would be assuming that. So what I would ask you tonight is please inform us of what's going on. So we hear it from one voice, that be from this council. Thank you.
Good, thank you. And if I may say, in response to that, you will. We'll reiterate again that the discussion that's being had with this entity is merely the discussion with the entity and the Borough of Glassboro to talk about a project. And as discussions move forward, and any information that will be given to the public will be given to the public. You will have a say.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're
Mayor, can
welcome.
I add something briefly?
Yes, sir.
And I live in Camelot, as a lot of you know, and I'm familiar with some of the information that's going around, okay? And some of it, quite frankly, is misinformation, okay? Things have gotten confused. What happened at the last meeting was there was not an ordinance passed, and that's why a lot of people thought that there was a quote-unquote second reading tonight, passing something into what in effect is law. That never happened. Okay, there was no ordinance, there was no approval of any plan. What happened was, and it's in the resolution, and many of us have it, the resolution approved a formulation of a redevelopment. The parties get together for negotiations toward the formulation of a redevelopment agreement for the legal language, rehabilitation and redevelopment of the property. So what that resolution did was open the door, allow the borough and the developer to negotiate. And what happens from here on in is a matter of negotiations. Correct me if I'm wrong, it may take months and months to happen. So nothing at all happened in terms of anything being approved, and that's where we are now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
And if I could just add, if you don't mind.
No,
the-
not at all.
And I don't wanna speak for the developer, but the 60,000 square foot water, I think what all they're looking to do is build a man-made lake, so you can walk around the lake, there's no water park. Unless it's changed, then when we meet and we have the initial, we don't even have enough plans to tell you at this point, here's exactly what it is. We don't know. To Mr. Fiola's point, it's the developer came in, they met with myself first, the assistant administrator, we moved it forward and just discussed it. There are no plans at this point. There's a concept, but there's no definitive plans at this point. There, to Mr. Fiola's point, you're a long way away before that's gonna happen, so.
And by the way, if I might add, it was also written somewhere that this process does not involve planning board approval. It does in fact involve planning board approval. Rowan Boulevard was built on redevelopment agreements. So there's a complex process where representatives of the borough negotiate, then it goes before the planning board at least once. Clark would know specifically what happens, but it's not correct that it doesn't go before the planning board. And also, if there's if anybody would draw the conclusion from that there's a looser process or anything like that, it's not correct. If anything, it's a tighter process. And as I said, look at Rowan Boulevard, it's the way that was built.
Thank you, gentlemen. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My
Good
name is
evening.
Roseanne Lafferty. I live at 122 Field Loop in Camelot. So I've looked at the zoning for this and it's zoned OP. So a restaurant is a permitted use in that zone. The other 5 uses or 4 uses are not. They're not stated in there. So my question is, number one, why wouldn't it go to the zoning board for approval? The redevelopment plan, I do know what the process is, as I have 20 years of zoning experience. And I'd like to know, has your planning board ever dissented on a plan that's been sent to them by you? That's just a question. The brewery, the banquet facility, the amphitheater, the other use facility, which isn't stipulated, and somewhere along the line that'll be decided as to what's going to be there, and 450 parking spaces. So will we as the public ever get an idea of what is going to be there, and will we have an option to have an opinion as to what you decide upon? The redevelopment process will be that someone, or some of you, will discuss this, negotiate it. It will then be sent to the planning board for advice and consent. And that's where I'm asking, have they ever dissented? It will come then back, and then it will become an ordinance. But in the meantime, us as the public who are going to be out there are left out of it. I also have a question is, the redeveloper, are they the same redeveloper that was Landmark Americana that lost their license? These people, the Beerland, have been granted a liquor license. Americana, and I believe it was Zagami, LLC, had their license revoked for 2 incidents, one in Ewing and one here. So we've granted maybe the same people. We'd like some reassurance, or I would like some reassurance, they're gonna manage this property much better than they did the Landmark on Main Street. And I have that decision from the ABC where in fact they did lose it. So I understand what the process, very much what the process is. My question is, what portion of it, if any, we the public will have in it? If you go to a planning or a zoning board meeting, there's a public portion. You can come up and the board will get our opinions as to whether or not we think it's a good fit and whether or not there's gonna be any kind of negotiations with us as the public as to what that is. Camelot, we'd love a restaurant. That was told to people years ago, that we would get a restaurant and some, maybe a Wawa or what have you. So it's not as though we're opposing development, we're not. An amphitheater, as was previously pointed out, that music will filter into the neighborhood. Same as what happened with Bass Brothers when they were having the wedding venues, and that was filtering into the neighborhood. Bass Brothers was shut off at 11 o'clock. This place will not be shut off at 11 o'clock. They're having, their license are gonna go till 2. So again, my questions are exactly what role will us as the public have? Will we be told, here's the plan and this is what's done, and it's already a matter of being done? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you want an answer.
Well, I can assure you, as I did the gentleman here, when we have information to bring to the public, the public will be informed. You will be informed, you will have a say, you will have input, you'll have a chance to voice it as the process goes, if or when we get to that process. But we are nowhere near that. We're just talking about the property right now.
And I realize they have
Yes.
180-day agreement.
Right, but rest assured, nothing will be done without the public knowing, with not knowing about it.
Thank you, and happy holidays.
Same to you, thank you. You can ask whatever you want.
Andrea Verducci, 335 Heritage Loop in Camelot. So I live 5 houses from the corner on the right. My end of the street, from when you come in on D. Giovanni to almost halfway down Heritage Loop is pitch dark. We have no street lights. I'd like to know if somebody could come out and take a look to see how dark it is in the evening and how unsafe it is for the people in our community who walk. If someone is like lurking, you would never see them until it was too late. So if somebody could come out and take a look at that, I'd appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Diana Talbot, 103 Weatherby, Camelot. I have a question for the situation at Aura and what's being discussed at Aura and Alice Mills. You have to logically look at what your sizes, especially for some of the items that Roe made a comment on that really aren't approved in that zoning. But you're saying a man-made lake of 60,000 square feet, that's bigger than a city block total. You want somebody to walk around that? Is that what they're really going to be doing with this man-made lake? It's a large facility. But that lake would be a large issue. That's 3 times the size of the proposed restaurant and brewery. It just, things logically have to look at size measurements, things like that, if you plan to go through with things that aren't in the zoning just yet. So, that's all I was questioning, just make sure we kind of look at what you're doing, because some of these numbers are so off.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And we will.
Hello.
Hi.
Elizabeth Quam, 29 New Freedom Road, Monroeville. I'm here for a very different reason. We got a letter about the water sewer for some of the properties, and they were gonna go back to doing the increase for 4 units. We had talked years ago with a couple of council members about this being applied to the water sewer, and when they looked at it, they reversed it and took it away. Well, first, is council aware of what I'm talking about? Because I'm not sure if it was discussed with council.
You look at me, I'm not, I don't recall.
Well, I was looking at you because you were in our discussions years ago.
Are you talking about when Hector Cabezas and I got together
Correct,
with
yeah.
some landlords? Yeah, Liz, I don't recall that.
So, are you familiar with the letter that was sent out from Water Sewer just recently?
No.
Okay,
I could
so,
probably explain that letter.
Okay.
If you don't mind, I could probably explain.
Absolutely, thank you.
So yes, you're right. Your properties were deemed residential at the time, so that's why the units weren't, your properties weren't being charged per, student housing rates, per our ordinance. The assessor's office changed that. Your properties are now deemed commercial, and those properties are listed as student housing. So we are now charging those properties based on our ordinance for student housing rates.
so who was the one who made the decision, not council?
No, it was the assessor of the county.
So the assessor came in and made the decision about the water sewer through Glassboro.
They're a separate entity. They assess your properties. They recently changed your assessment from residential to commercial.
I'm familiar, yeah.
And then they changed your, they deemed your properties as student housing.
But now, and correct me if I'm wrong, you just said the assessor office is different from the water sewer office,
Yes.
right? So why are the assessor's office doing anything with the water sewer office?
The water sewer is billing, water bills.
Okay.
The assessor assesses the property.
What I'm asking is, so who made the decision on the water sewer? Because it wouldn't make sense that the assessors, who don't have anything to do with water sewer, are making decisions on water sewer. So I just wanted to know who is making the decision on the water sewer?
We go by what the assessor assesses the property at.
Are you, when you say we, are you water sewer?
Water sewer. I'm the
Okay.
CFO.
Okay.
So I oversee water and sewer.
So you were the one who made the decision?
Yes.
Are you aware that years ago they were doing the same thing?
At that time, the properties were deemed residential.
Well, they always were residential,
But-
and when we brought it up, with the, you know, the talks we had
That's right.
years ago, they looked into it and they said, oh, this, you know, this can't be done this way, and then stopped doing it.
Right, because the properties were residential.
Okay, is there a way we can halt this until we're able to, fight, cause no one's fought the decision on changing a residential to a commercial? Can we hold off on this until because, I don't know if you're familiar, but with the COA, we had them try to do that with the COA, we went to the state, and the state said, no, you can't do this is a residential, not a commercial. So, we haven't
Yeah,
talked about that.
We can talk about it here, you know, that's something we can discuss.
'Cause this
I
was-
can't put a halt on it yet,
Okay.
right, at this moment, but that's something we can discuss.
We can
Okay.
discuss it, Liz, but we're gonna look for legal guidance from our side too,
Oh,
because
yeah.
it sounds to
Yeah.
me like, I'm not sure we can halt it, you can fight it, and if we have to go back and redo it, then we gotta go back and redo it, but we will definitely discuss it.
Okay, so you're gonna go forward with it, we'll discuss it, but it's still gonna be charged,
Most likely.
and then, okay, so.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then I'm almost out of time, so then,
Okay.
then I'll let someone else make comments about that. Thank you so much for.
By the way, Liz, the reason I don't remember, I know that was before 2014. So.
It was a long time ago.
No, it was a long time ago, I remember it vividly, cause I was,
You have a vested interest in that.
yeah, I was being charged, so. But thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Karen.
Adam Schiffman, 54 Delsey Drive, Glassboro. So I had another question about what Liz was discussing, which I guess you were well. So for these water and sewer bills, is it for every 4 students, or is it for every 8? Like if you have 8?
For every 4 students, it's 1 unit.
Now, what if you don't have, like, what if there's some units that don't have students living there?
We're gonna be checking the lease through the construction office. We're gonna cross-reference the properties with.
But then do you
lease
cross-reference
agreements.
with Rowan if they're a student?
What do you mean?
Like, what if they're not students? Like, what if, like, people aren't, like, what if it's just someone living there as a graduated 2
No,
years ago?
it's based off the property. So where the students live on Rowan, it's deemed as student housing. Certain properties, these mega homes with multiple bedrooms are deemed as student housing by the assessor's office.
Okay, but does that mean that, so you're saying that they classified them as commercial properties?
Yep.
Does that mean that now that the paving on them could be 30% instead of 10%? Like, how does that work with the borough now that they're classified as commercial properties? Are they allowed to have bigger driveways now? I mean, that's what they decided, I guess, the county?
We don't have an answer for that, Aaron.
Right.
We don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just reiterating what Liz said. I think it's before you guys decide to do this. I mean, we've already litigated the parking lawsuit, and now you guys are making something totally discriminatory towards students. It just, you know, why don't you wait till May when we challenge it? Because we did challenge the COA, and the state immediately slapped the wrist of the assessor and said, you can't do that. And now you guys are just, you know, going by what the assessor's saying was wrong the first time. So, I mean, if we could just have till May, rather than going back and reversing things and having to, like, take legal action, I think that's more fair. I mean, 6 months gonna hurt the borough for a few $100s in fees that these students are gonna have to, like, you know, they're paying a lot of these fees. It's really not fair to them. It seems discriminatory. They're only doing it towards students.
I think the administrator indicated that the governing body's willing to discuss it, but we won't have an answer for you tonight.
Okay. How do we get an answer about?
You'll hear from me.
Okay.
Okay?
Because as soon as I can pave my driveway 30%, I want to know.
I'm sure you will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Jake McCullen, 326 Heritage Loop. I'm going to go back to the redevelopment on Aura and Ellis Mill Road. You kind of indicated that this is nowhere near a fait accompli, and there's a time element here. How long are you talking when you say we're way, way off? Like 6 months, 8 months, a year? What are you referring to?
I don't even know if I can even answer that question.
Okay,
All I can assure you, I'm sorry to cut you off.
That's okay.
All I can assure you is, as we are at the absolute beginning of this whole process. And as the process continues and information comes out, then it will be given to the public, as we would with any.
How will the
Well,
public
it would be by notices, announcements, as we would.
in those little newspapers?
It would be posted, website, we would, the same way the borough gets information out about any other project.
And the only reason I question it is because we never even heard about this redevelopment business until the afternoon of the last council meeting. That was a little annoying.
No, we didn't hear about it very much before that.
Before that. But apparently this has been in the works for a while.
No, it hasn't.
It hasn't?
No, it hasn't.
Okay.
No.
When you are going to be doing something, is there any possibility you can let the board of our HOA know about this, besides you, Anthony?
I have to tell you, by the way, my answer to that question is, I'm retired as of the next meeting.
You're gonna be useless on this one.
If your HOA is part of the public, yes, they'll be notified.
I may be there with you the next.
Well, they'll be notified as anyone else in the public would be notified.
Okay.
If you're asking about personal, I can't commit to personal
Well, I'm not saying
notifications.
personal,
Yeah,
I'm
no, but I
saying
just
a
to
board
clarify.
HOA. Or how about True North Church? Are they aware of this project?
I don't know, they're not
No,
part of, they're not in
nobody knows.
Glassboro.
Yeah, that might be a good idea to let them know, because like, if I'm not mistaken, this is like right next door to them. Yeah, okay.
Excuse me,
Good
ma'am.
luck, guys.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
If I may,
Yes, you may.
when this information went out last time, this was still privileged information between developers and the council. So this is the process that happens oftentimes here in the borough.
Yeah.
We go through, proposals and things with people all the time, sometimes on multiple, developers on one property. This is just part of the process. That's why nothing has been formally announced, like the mayor said, because we don't have anything yet to announce.
And I know that someone said there's a lot of misinformation out there. I get that, and I know that that happens. But what we were told is that there's the possibility this will not involve zoning or planning. That's alarming, you know, because I don't want somebody behind closed doors making these calls without us getting the feedback, and that's my main concern. You need to know you've got 450 homes in our development, all voters. You don't wanna do this without letting us know about it.
And you will, and you will.
And be aware, there are homes directly across the street from this venue.
Yes, ma'am.
Amphitheater is not gonna fly well, not with anybody in the area, okay? The wedding venue, your bar, your restaurant, go for it. Not that amphitheater, okay? Thanks, guys.
No, thank you.
Sorry. Go ahead, you can answer.
Seeing no other members of the audience wishing to make a public speech, I will make a motion to close the public portion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. The public portion is now closed. I will now entertain a motion to approve all duly authorized bills.
Will duly authorized bills be paid?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
Mayor, I have one abstention, 23-85022 for the wrong list.
Okay. Any other abstentions? That's been noted. Motion still carries. Any closing comments from our administrator?
No, sir.
All right. I would just like to say, as always, thank you to all that have come out to attend the meeting tonight and to those that spoke and voiced their opinions. I will reiterate that we exercise transparency all the way through. So when the public will get the information, you will get the information. And you'll get it, as I said. As the councilman said over here, there are projects that have come and gone and been talked about, and it just doesn't get out because it never gets to that point. When it gets to a certain point, the public will be notified. There is a lot of misinformation out there, as was spoken about. If you ever have any questions and want to know the truth and the facts, I encourage you to call the borough, write the borough, or come here like you did tonight and get the true answer of what's happening. Again, I appreciate you all. And with that, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, state aye.
Aye. Be able to get
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. This meeting is now adjourned. Again, thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. The next regular meeting will be December 26th, 2023. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and all the other good stuff. Yes, sir.